The League Cup, a chance for any top-flight team to win a trophy. But some have problems already. Paul Lambert's got plenty on his plate at Villa. Tonight, 12 Premier League managers face potential banana skins. Swindon produced one of the upsets of round one. There'll be a contrast of styles tonight against Tony Pulis' Stoke. And West Brom have started well under their new manager Steve Clarke. But tonight they travel to an even more informed Yeovil. Yes, a dozen top-flight clubs enter the competition tonight, and all are wary of an upset as every one of them faces a team from a lower division. It could be the night of the underdog. Elsewhere this evening in the Cup at the Britannia Stadium, another one of the 12 Premier League clubs up against lower league opposition is Stoke City. They take on League One Swindon, who were a League Two club, of course, last season. Stunning last season to win the title in League Two, carrying it on into this season, going really well in League One. And are they taking it to the big boys at the Britannia, Matt Murray?
Yeah, Jules, you can see why they're doing so well in the league, because they really are a good team. They're getting the ball down, they're popping it around, passing it around really, really nicely. And to be honest, they've probably had the best of the game so far. It's just over 10 minutes gone and they're looking really, really good. They had one effort, Tommy Miller from distance, about 25 yards out, straight down the throat of Thomas Sorensen. Apart from that, neither keeper's had much to do, but it's been a good start from Swindon. They're in here now. He's pulled it back, sorry. Oh, it's just ran away from it. That was a really good chance there for Swindon. They're looking really, really good, so but still goalless at the moment.
Let's get to the Britannia Stadium, where Premier League Stoke taking on League One Swindon. How many chances have we had in this one? Matt Murray.
Well, there's been another chance. It's to the away side again. Swindon, I said they've been doing really, really well in this game. And it was Rafael De Vita. There's a little bit of controversy here because Jermaine Pennant was down injured. Swindon just played on. They've got every right to do that. And the ball came into the middle of the park. And there was Rafael De Vita, probably 20 yards from goal, central to goal. Just put it to wide of Thomas Sorensen's left-hand post. But I say it's been a really, really bright start from the away team. They've got a great travelling support with them. At the moment, I think they're going to be pretty happy with what they've seen. But it's still goalless, Jules.
Looking for upsets, of course, this evening. One could be on the cards. I know it's early days, but there is a goal at the Britannia Stadium. Matt Murray.
And it's gone to the away side. I said that they've been looking really, really good, been passing it around well, looking really dangerous. But it's actually Stoke who probably just had the best spell of the game. Kenwyne Jones missed a great chance from a header. He got in Cameron Jerome's way and it went wide. But then there was a corner. The ball went up the other end. It was a corner to Swindon. And it came in, it looked like, you know, no problem at all. Thomas Sorensen came to gather it under no pressure at all, dropped it, and there was James Collins just a few yards out just to whack the ball into the empty net to the away side lead, 1-0.
Let's see how Stoke have responded to going behind at the Britannia against League One Swindon. Matt Murray.
They've not responded that well, to be honest, Jules. They're struggling to get their passes together. Oh, and there's another shot. There's another chance for Swindon, straight down the throat of Sorensen. The passing of Stoke is, you know, it's missing its target all the time. The tempo closing down isn't good enough. And the few fans that are here for Stoke are showing that they're not happy at all. 6 changes Pulis has made, and these guys really aren't impressing him. So they still trail 1-0.
And another goal to tell you about it in the game involving Swindon and Stoke. Stoke were behind in this one to Swindon. Swindon, who've just carried on this season where they left off last season, really, when they won the League Two title. Unbeaten, yet to concede a goal this season. Has that continued? Matt Murray.
Yeah, Stoke are even further behind now. It's 2-0 to the away side. It was a corner. Swindon won a corner after a good save from Thomas Sorensen. It came in, and there was that man again, Collins, free header to glance the ball home, 2-0.
That could be one of the upsets of the night, unless Stoke can score at least twice at the Britannia Stadium. You'll find out if they do throughout the evening here. We'll keep you on top of all the cup ties on this Gillette Soccer Special. What about at the Britannia Stadium, where Stoke were 2-0 down to Swindon? Rather than scoring themselves, Stoke, it looks like Swindon could have had another, Matt Murray.
Yeah, it was very nearly 3, Jules. Anyone watching this game, you'd think Swindon are the Premier League team. It was Andy Williams. He burst down the right. Great run as Thomas Sorensen came to him. He pulled the ball back. And there was that boy again. I keep getting James Collins, did everything right, hit the target. But fortunately for Stoke, there were 2 defenders on the line to block it. But Swindon are playing some great stuff.
So Swindon looking comfortable at the Britannia Stadium, one of the upsets of the night. And nearly another goal at the Britannia Stadium, where Swindon had threatened a third. And once again, Matt Murray.
Yeah, well, it was a poor defensive header by Ryan Shot. You can hear the boos ringing out behind me. That's the Stoke fans with the half-time whistle just gone. It was a poor defensive header by Ryan Shot, and there was Rafael De Vita. Brilliant volley, but it smashed off the post and went wide. Swindon on fire.
Swindon looking very, very impressive under Paolo Di Canio. Underway again, though, in the game at the Britannia Stadium, where Swindon are incapable of possibly pulling off the story of the night. They lead Stoke by 2-0. Have Stoke come out firing in the second half, Matt Murray?
Well, it's just kicked off. To be honest, Swindon have made the brightest start to the half. It's been the same as the first half. They've got on the ball, passed it around. They've been brilliant. It would have been interesting to be in that Stoke dressing room at half-time, because Tony Pulis must have been absolutely raging with his team. Say he's made 6 changes, and those lads are out there to prove why that they should be playing for him in the Premier League, and they would have been really, really poor. But at the moment, Swindon have been excellent, and they lead 2-0.
Back to the Britannia Stadium, where Stoke City certainly are not on track for round 3, unless they can turn this round quickly against Swindon. Matt Murray.
Well, they've got a lot to do. Swindon haven't conceded a goal yet this season, and that record doesn't look under threat at all. Wes Foderingham in the Swindon goal has only had like 1 half save to make in the whole game. They've got Crouch, they've got Walters on the bench, but at the moment they haven't been warming up. But I say Swindon look very, very comfortable at the moment. They still lead 2-0.
Sides in danger of going out this evening is Stoke. They trailed Swindon by 2-0. There's been a goal at the Britannia. Are they back in it, Matt Murray?
They are back in it, Jules. They just had a chance just before Kitely. There was a free kick in from the Stoke right. They half cleared it. Kitely volleyed over, and it was that man Kitely. He did really, really well. He burst down the Stoke left, cut inside of his right foot, put in a brilliant cross. The keeper, Foderingham, came, didn't get there, and there was Kenwyne Jones. He rose really high to head into the empty net. Now the crowd are getting behind them. 2-1 to Swindon. 2
Premier League sides are losing and in danger of going out. One of them is Fulham, the other is Stoke. Swindon have already claimed 1 scalp this season in the form of Brighton. Now they're going to add Stoke City to that. Matt Murray.
Well, if you'd have asked me that about 20 minutes ago, I said, yeah, definitely. But now they start to look a little bit edgy of Swindon. Stoke, since the goal, have come back into it. They started closing down well. They're getting on the ball now and starting to look like a Premier League side. There's 20 minutes left to go. It's going to be very interesting, Jules.
One of the headlines of the night, if that score stays the same, another upset is brewing at the Britannia still. Matt Murray.
Yeah, and Walters and Crouch are on for Stoke. Tony Pulis is trying his hardest to get back into this game, but since they scored after 63 minutes to Kenwyne Jones, who's now gone off, they haven't really had any other clear-cut chances. There was a great chance for Andy Williams just a couple of minutes ago, and Matthew Upson got caught in possession by Williams. The ball looped up in the air, but Thomas Sorensen was just out in the Stoke goal to smother the danger. 5 minutes or so plus stoppage time to go. It's going to be edgy for Swindon.
Late goal for Anderlecht, a big goal as well for the Brussels side in the Champions League. They have taken the lead against AEL Limassol in their playoff. Mbakani has got it 9 minutes from time, 2-2 on aggregate, but Anderlecht have the away goal advantage. Straight to the Britannia Stadium, where Stoke were heading out. Another goal. Are they definitely out now? Matt Murray.
It looks like we're heading to extra time, Jules. They said the big guns are on, Crouch and Walters, and it was the second one, Walters. Swindon struggled to clear a long ball up. It dropped to Jonathan Walters, and he calmly, with his right foot, just stroked the ball into the bottom corner. Great finish, 2-2.
4 games heading for extra time at the moment, including Premier League Stoke, who've been getting back into the game in the last few minutes against Swindon. They were 2-0 down. They've got it back to 2-2. Can they go on and win it now? Matt Murray.
Well, Walters has given them some real, tempo up front, closing down, but there've been no more chance since you last came to me. I reckon it's going to go to extra time, this one, Jules.
Have we got a late winner in the game at the Britannia Stadium? Matt Murray.
Well, Stoke were pushing. First, there was it's gone to extra time now, but Stoke were pushing. There was a chance for Peter Crouch. He nipped in front of his marker, got the head on it, was just deflected wide for a corner. Then Jermaine Pennant cutting in, but he hit his shot straight at the Swindon goalkeeper. Swindon had a corner at the end, but it's straight into Sorensen's hands. We're into extra time.
So extra time needed there. Stoke coming back from 2-0 down against Swindon. They'll need another 30 minutes and potentially penalties as well. Extra time being played, or it's going to be played, and you can see Paolo Di Canio is giving one of his inspirational pep talks to his Swindon players on the pitch at the Britannia. It finished 2-2. He'll be livid there because they were 2-0 up through goals, 2 goals from James Collins, but back came Stoke in the second half through Kenwyne Jones and Jonathan Walters. Extra time is needed, and Di Canio is working his stuff. Great sight at the Britannia Stadium. News of extra time. Can Swindon retake the lead against Stoke, I wonder, at the Britannia? Matt Murray.
Well, they had one great chance about 2 minutes into the start of extra time for Andy Williams, but he just pulled his shot wide. But really, it's been all Stoke. They've looked really, really dominant. There was a chance for Jeff Cameron. He followed his run, burst into the box. You thought he was just going to slot the ball home, but it was a great saving challenge. Then Peter Crouch, he had a shot from the edge of the box. Again, a great block. It was deflected over. But at the moment, Stoke are in charge of this game, but it's still 2-2, Jules.
But there's been another goal in the game at the Britannia. Stoke 2, Swindon 2. Who's got the 5th goal in this one? Matt Murray.
Not anymore. It's Stoke 2, Swindon 3. It's an in-swinging corner from the Swindon right. And the ball was glanced on, and there was Aden Flint, the big centre-half, at the back stick, totally unmarked, and he powers the ball home. Swindon lead.
The upset is back on. They were 2-0 up in that game. Back came Stoke with 2 goals through Jones and Walters, but Swindon, under Paolo Di Canio, back in front. We'll come back to talk about Fulham very shortly, but it's half-time in extra time at the Britannia Stadium. And look at Paolo Di Canio. He is well up for this, isn't he, with his side having retaken the lead just before half-time in extra time through Aden Flint. And he once again is remonstrating and barking his instructions at his team. How much of it they're understanding, I'm not too sure, but he's certainly making his point very passionately, and who am I to argue with him? He's made his points, and he's certainly got his way over the last year or so. Promotion last season, a wonderful start to League One, and on track for an upset in the League Cup as well. They lead Premier League Stoke by 3-2. Swindon were looking like they were on track for round 3. They were leading Stoke by 3-2 in extra time. A 6th goal on the night. So we're heading for penalties, or a Swindon heading through, Matt Murray?
I think we're heading for penalties, Jules. Well, I say that, it's so hard to call this game, but it's Jonathan Walters down the right, really, really good play. He puts in a cross, and there's Peter Crouch, like he does. He's at the back stick, towers above the defender, heads it home from probably 5 or 6 yards out. But it's been a really, really good game. I reckon Swindon scored against the run of play at the start of it, in extra time. But then Swindon, after they'd scored, were starting to have a really good play, passing the ball around, and then Stoke had gone and scored. It's so hard to call. Really entertaining game. 3-3.
Roughly 8 minutes of extra time to go there. Otherwise, it is penalties. But as Matt says, a thoroughly entertaining game. And Di Canio's side twice in the lead, but pegged back once again by the Premier League team and Peter Crouch. What chance Swindon joining them and knocking out Stoke into extra time, Matt Murray?
Well, Stoke just had a great chance. It was quite a comical moment because Paolo Di Canio was adamant that it should have been the Swindon free kick. So he turned to the Stoke fans. They started singing "Are You Wenger" in disguise and started mocking him. But anyway, from a resulting corner, free kick, Pennant put in a great ball. And there was Upson. He got in front of his marker, but just glanced the ball wide. Still 3-3.
Back to the Britannia Stadium. Must be a matter of seconds now, standing between Stoke, Swindon and penalties. Matt Murray.
Yeah, there's about a minute to go, Jules, but with 2 minutes to go, Andy Williams had a great chance to win it for Swindon. He burst away, showed such great energy. You know, he's been on for the whole game, but he burst away, got through, chopped back inside, and he only had Sorensen to beat, but he hit it straight at him. But it looks like it's going to be penalties.
So penalties looming there, still playing at Brunton Park as well, but at the moment, they're not going to need penalties. Peter Stevenson.
Don't think so. A matter of seconds now from Carlisle, celebrating a famous victory here against Ipswich Town. Ipswich have really struggled to create anything in the second period of extra time. And almost there. In fact, we're there. Carlisle win 2-1.
So Carlisle, League One, Carlisle are through. They've knocked out Championship Ipswich, and our League One Swindon going to join them. Another goal at the Britannia, a 7th in the game. This must be the winner, Matt Murray.
They are going to join him, and they really, really deserve it. It was a great break again. Williams, he hit a shot from the edge of the box. Sorensen got a good, strong hand up to it, parried it up in the air. The ball got knocked back to the back stick, and there was that man. Collins and he got his hat-trick. He slid in at the back stick to get his hat-trick. Brilliant finish in front of the travelling support. They're going crazy. And on the balance of play, Swindon do deserve this. Great, great game. Stoke 3, Swindon 4.
Wow, James Collins with a hat-trick. That goal went in right on the stroke of the last minute of extra time. Still playing in added on time now, but at the moment, Swindon heading through. 4-3, they lead Premier League Stoke, and another Premier League side on the verge of going out of this season's competition at the first hurdle. Swindon fans aren't celebrating quite yet. It's not over at the Britannia, Matt Murray.
Oh, there's a ball to the back stick. Peter Crouch kept it alive brilliantly, knocked it down. It wouldn't quite sit for Jonathan Walters. He appealed for a penalty, eventually got his shot off. It was blocked. It's gone out for a corner. There's a Stoke corner now. It's coming in. 1 sec. Keeper's come. It's up in the air. Oh, Swindon just about cleared out. Oh, this is unbelievable. At the moment, it's another corner to Stoke. Swindon are hanging on by the skin of the teeth. Still 4-3.
Matt, I mean, Swindon, what spirit they've shown, but Stoke, we know, never lie down, do they?
No, they've kept going. They really have, and the substitutions are brilliant. The introduction of Crouch and Walters. Walters have been absolutely different class. But Swindon again have cleared another corner, and that's it. The final whistle's gone. Swindon have won. I'm looking for Paolo Di Canio because he's probably going to come running on. But Swindon deserve it. A great, great win. What a game. And yeah, Swindon win 4-3.
What an amazing result at the Britannia Stadium. There is Paolo Di Canio, who has masterminded another upset, this time even bigger than the last. They beat Brighton in the last round, and look at him, milking the moment, and why not? What does that mean? I'm not sure. Nice little jig, though, from Paolo Di Canio. A 4-3 win over Stoke, and a quite incredible victory. James Collins, the hero on the night, with a hat-trick, including that 7th goal in the last minute of extra time. And Paolo Di Canio, who's tasted so much success in such a short space of time already with Swindon, cruising League 2 last season, starting off so well in League 1 this year as well. And now he goes onto the pitch to congratulate all of those Swindon players who have done him proud this evening as well. He is box office, isn't he, Paolo Di Canio? And he has just pulled off a box office result by beating Premier League Stoke by 4-3. They were 2-0 up in the game, Swindon. 2 goals from James Collins. Back came the Premier League team, though. Kenwyne Jones and Jonathan Walters with the goals. Aden Flint then put Swindon back in front in extra time. Peter Crouch, though, got Stoke back on level terms, 3-3, but there was still that last twist in the tail for Di Canio and his side, and James Collins was the man to complete the hat-trick, and he is loving every minute of it. They knocked Brighton out in the last round, and now they have knocked out Stoke. They are in the draw for the 3rd round. Could they get the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal or Chelsea?
It's Paolo Di Canio's night in the League Cup as Swindon knock out Premier League Stoke.
Fulham are also out, but Julio Cesar was at Loftus Road to see QPR make it past Walsall. Mark Hughes has told us he's still hopeful.
Steven Gerrard reiterates he'll see out his career at Liverpool, but admits his hopes of a title may be waning.
Who knows what's around the corner? For me, I just take each game as it comes, and hopefully before I hang my boots up I can realise the dream of winning it, but I'm also realistic as well.
And we'll show you how South Africa beat England to become #1 ranked side in all formats.
All that to come, plus Harry Redknapp gives us his verdict on Luka Modric's move to Real Madrid.
And we'll be first with all the transfer news as we gear up for Friday's 11 o'clock deadline.
First, Paolo Di Canio took centre stage on a night of shocks in the Capital One Cup. His Swindon side claimed the scalp of one of the 2 Premier League clubs who crashed out. 11 Championship sides also exited the competition. Swindon took the lead at the Britannia after 27 minutes. Stoke keeper Thomas Sorensen making a bit of a mess of a cross into the box, and James Collins took full advantage. Swindon then made it 2-0. Collins headed in from a corner for his 2nd of the night. Now, look at this. Collins has scored 2 goals already. He runs over to have a bit of a chat with his manager, who gives him a kick for his troubles. Friendly advice, you might call that. Stoke then pulled one back at the start of the second half. Michael Kitely's cross headed in by Kenwyne Jones. The Premier League side then equalised on 86 minutes when Swindon failed to deal with Thomas Sorensen's long kick out. John Walters scored to take the game into extra time. But it was the League One side that took the lead again. Aden Flint with the close-range header. Stoke didn't give up, though. Peter Crouch's header made it 3-3. But it was Swindon that won it when Collins scored his 3rd of the night with just 1 minute left of extra time.
Premier League.
Now, Paolo Di Canio and Swindon led the way on a night of shocks in the Capital One Cup. His side did plenty of damage in the Cups last season, and now they've claimed the scalp of one of the 2 Premier League clubs to crash out last night, seeing off Stoke. Look out for some special Di Canio celebrations in this one. Well, Swindon took the lead after 27 minutes. Stoke keeper Thomas Sorensen made a mess of a cross. James Collins took full advantage. Well, Swindon went 2 up. Collins heading in for his second of the night. Collins then took some friendly advice on board from the manager, Mr. Di Canio. Priceless. Stoke then pulled one back at the start of the second half. Michael Kiteley's cross headed in by Kenwyne Jones. The Premier League side then equalised on 86 minutes when Swindon failed to deal with Thomas Sorensen's kick. John Walters scored to take the game into extra time. But it was the League One side that took the lead once again. Aden Flint with that close-range header. Back came Stoke, though. Peter Crouch made it 3-3. But it was to be Swindon's night. They won it when Collins scored his third of the night with just a minute left of extra time. Cue scenes of delirium in the stands.
As a perfectionist like I am, it was an enjoy to concede 3 goals, but it's obvious that it was an amazing match. To be honest, at the end of the day, we scored 4 goals in a place where it's difficult for any side in the Premiership to score more than 1 goal. Sometimes, you know, this is a fortress for them. We scored 4 goals and we create minimum another 6-7 clear chances. So I'm more than delighted. I would like to thank, obviously, to my players. They were warriors tonight.
Fulham were also knocked out by Sheffield.
Thanks very much indeed for coming in, and well, enjoy the next 10 days of competition. Excellent, thanks Simon. Now, football. Saying it was like watching Barcelona perhaps says more about the exuberance of Swindon manager Paolo Di Canio than his side's actual performance. But there's no doubt Swindon thoroughly deserved their win last night as they produced the shock of the round. It was a thrilling match which they won with a goal a minute from the end of extra time. He also said it was one of the best results in the club's history. Let's see if he's right. Even Premier League managers don't like going to Stoke. On Sunday, Arsenal were held to a 0-0 draw, and 5 of the Stoke players in that game were in last night's lineup. Swindon were 2 up before half-time. James Collins, one of Paolo Di Canio's summer signings, with both of the strikes. The manager felt that was the least they deserved, and they should have had several more. Stoke hit back with 2 goals in the second half. Kenwyne Jones with the first, and Jonathan Walters with the second, in the nick of time to take it into extra time. But far from crumbling, Swindon forged ahead again. The manager said they were like warriors. But that goal by Aden Flint was cancelled out by Peter Crouch. So penalties seemed a certainty. That was until James Collins completed his hat-trick and Swindon's historic win. Cue Di Canio's victory address.
In a cup, if we play with this quality intensity, we can put in trouble any side. We played a fantastic football match. My players were warriors with fantastic quality, so I have to only be proud today about my players.
Yeovil, also against Premier League opposition.
Right, well, let's see how the clubs from the Premier League got on in the second round, starting at the Britannia Stadium, as Stoke took on Swindon. Paolo Di Canio's newly promoted side have picked up where they left off last season and are unbeaten in League One, so Stoke had been warned.
Di Canio's never been far from the headlines since taking over at the Robins helm, and more column inches were heading his and Swindon's way after what he labelled one of the greatest moments in the club's history. A gift from Thomas Sorensen set the League One side on their way, former Aston Villa trainee James Collins on hand to profit from the fumble. And Stoke's first exit to a team outside of the top 2 divisions since 2007 looked a real possibility when Collins bagged his second just before half-time. With the Robins also hitting the post before the interval, Tony Pulis's men were booed off at the break, but the Potters picked up their game in the second period. Kenwyne Jones rising highest just after the hour mark, to become the first man to breach the Robins backline this season. With time ticking down, Pulis made a triple change and 2 of his substitutes combined with 4 minutes left to play as John Walters converted Peter Crouch's knockdown. That meant another half an hour of high drama. Di Canio's men were in front once again when Aden Flint met Joe de Vera's flick on. But Swindon's hopes of a first third-round appearance since 1996 were checked once more when Walters turned provider for Crouch with 9 minutes of extra time remaining. Swindon refused to settle for spot kicks though, and with just over a minute left to go, some sharp thinking from Andy Williams allowed Collins to complete his hat-trick and secure the biggest shock of the night.
Today is something special. Something special in the way it came. 2-0 up, 2-0, 3-2, 3-0, and then the last minute, with the last energy, with the last desire and quality, we scored the goal that we fully deserved because we dominate the game and we should win this game with 3-4 goals above.
I don't want to take anything away from Swindon. I thought they were fabulous tonight. They were a credit to their manager and to the supporters who came and followed them.
Promoted from League Two last season, Paolo Di Canio's Swindon Town caused perhaps the biggest upset of the night as they dumped Premier League Stoke City out of the League Cup at the Britannia Stadium. In a classic cup tie, it was the hosts who made 6 changes to the team that drew with Arsenal in the league that had the early chance, but Kenwyne Jones could only head over from Jermaine Pennant's supply. In what was to prove a great night for James Collins, it was the Robins who took the lead just before the half hour. Thomas Sorensen spilled Jay McEverly's cross following a short corner. Collins quick to pounce for his first of the night. Stoke failed to deal with another Swindon corner 4 minutes before the break. Rafaela De Vita swung the ball in and Collins was on hand to nod in his second. 2-0, it seemed too easy. 2 might have become 3 before the interval. Some sloppy Stoke defending as Ryan Shotton failed to clear a Swindon cross, with De Vita smudging the outside of the near post with the goal at his mercy. Despite trailing, Tony Pulis failed to make any half-time substitutions, but just past the hour mark the Potters were back in the game. A slick move saw Jeff Cameron and Michael Kitely combine, with his cross finding the head of Jones, who opened his account for the season. Post-match, Di Canio compared his side to Chihuahuas, who'd become warriors. The Italians' energy at times spilling from the dugout onto the pitch. But with just 4 minutes to go, it looked as if his Swindon side had rolled over for a tickle on the tummy, as Stoke snatched a leveller to take the game into extra time. Typically Route 1, Sorensen belted the ball forward. Peter Crouch was off the bench to nod into the path of fellow substitute Jonathan Walters, who bagged the Potters' second. Into extra time, the hosts might have taken a lead for the first time, but Cameron scuffed wide from Crouch's assist. Still in the first period, it was Swindon who retook the lead again. Another corner routine. Joe de Vera with the flick on. Aden Flint made it 3-2. Stoke continued to look Route 1 in the second period, this time Walters returning the compliment to Crouch, who made it 3-3 with a typical header. Something had to give and the Robins snatched the win at the death. In the last minute, Sorensen could only palm Tommy Miller's shot into the path of Andy Williams, who nodded it to Collins, who completed his hat-trick on a memorable night for the Robins. 4-3 the final score as Di Canio's men go bobbing into round 3.